Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So before I jump into all of this, it's a long one. That's what she said. Can you please hit that subscribe button? Still trying to reach 50,000 by tomorrow. I know it's a long shot, but do what you can. Really appreciate the help. So here's the deal. Trump's co-conspirators, they have entered the find out phase of their adventure, and it is pretty delicious. I thought it would be pretty fun and educational to see where these people are and where they're headed since they got on board the Trump train. First of all, Georgia bail bondsman Scott Hall. He was the first to surrender on Tuesday of this week at the Fulton County Jail. Hall's booking was followed by coup memo author and attorney John Eastman. He committed to a $100,000 bond, and Eastman's California disbarment proceeding was scheduled to pick back up again this week, but the judge agreed to delay it so that Eastman could surrender in Georgia. It's only a temporary delay, though. So Eastman, as I mentioned before, you guys might recall, he was trying to delay his disbarment until after all of his other legal issues are resolved, but the judge refused that request. So that trial could resume any day now, and he could officially be disbarred, lose his license to practice in the legal field. Pastor Stephen Lee also arrived at the Fulton County Jail on Tuesday. He was released on a $75,000 bond, and an online petition is calling for Lee to be expelled from ordained ministry. As of Monday night, that petition had over 10,000 signatures. Former Justice Department Attorney Jeffrey Clark, he is also facing potential disbarment and or sanctions for his part in this alleged coup. He asked a federal court to prevent the Georgia district attorney from arresting him this week. And as with Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, he filed a motion to get his case moved from state court to federal court. So Clark claimed, the Georgia authorities have no ability, no authority to arrest me while I'm awaiting this decision. Well, the judge disagreed. And he said, nope, Friday is the deadline. It will not be amended. So Clark should be headed down to Georgia anytime in the next day or two. Otherwise, they're going to arrest him. And there will be a hearing on Monday to determine if his case should remain in the Georgia court system or if they are going to move it to federal court. Mark Meadows turned himself in today. He was also released on a $100,000 bond. And according to the Daily Beast, Mark Meadows' height and weight were listed as 6 feet 1 inches tall, 1 inch tall, I should say, and 240 pounds. Now, I mention this because online gamblers are taking bets on Donald Trump's weight. I'm not kidding. I think they're wildly off, too. Evidently, there's a site called betonline.ag. They're allowing gamblers to place bets on the, over and under of Trump's weight. And they're currently saying over and under is 278 pounds or 278 and 1/2 pound. Trump is definitely over 3 bills. And I know this because my dad was 6 feet tall, and at his heaviest, he weighed 365 pounds. Trump is much taller. And my guess, he's around 325 or more. So we'll see. Leave your guesses below in the comment section if you guys want to play. So Rudy Giuliani also turned himself in. He was booked into jail on Wednesday morning. And as you guys all know, this is far from Giuliani's only legal concern. He's named as a co-conspirator in the Justice Department's coup against Donald Trump, or coup case, I should say, against Donald Trump. Although no charges have been filed there yet, but they could be. So he could be in trouble there as well. He's also being sued for defamation by election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. He's also being sued for defamation by former Dominion Voting Systems executive, a man named Eric Coomer. Giuliani is also still named as a defendant in the multi-billion-dollar defamation cases brought by both Dominion and Smartmatic. And his former assistant is suing him for sexual harassment and abuse, also withholding her pay. And then more recently, Giuliani was hit with 2 additional lawsuits. There was one from a man who you might remember, he was seen patting Giuliani on the back and he said something to him at a store in New York. And then Giuliani falsely accused this guy of assaulting him. So the guy is suing him for defaming him. And then the other more recent lawsuit alleges that Giuliani failed to produce an anti-Joe Biden documentary for which he received $300,000. His license to practice law was suspended in 2 states. He's also on the verge of being disbarred due to his election fraud lies that he told for Trump. Given all of these issues, and possibly even more I'm forgetting, he is hurting for cash. Well, Giuliani's attorney in the Eric Coomer case, he quit back in March. He cited Giuliani's failure to cooperate and to pay his legal fees, and he said, "I'm out." So, according to several news outlets, Giuliani has now listed his Manhattan property for $6.5 million. And the Daily Beast says that Giuliani received about $400,000 from one of Trump's super PACs. But then he reportedly went down to Mar-a-Lago and he was pleading with Trump to help him pay his legal bills. So it was just announced, I guess Trump is realizing, like, this guy knows where all the bodies are buried, so I better help him. Trump is now going to host a fundraiser for Giuliani's legal defense. On September 7th, at Trump's New Jersey Golf Club, Trump is hosting something called an evening in support of America's mayor. Attendees have to pay $100,000 per ticket, and for that amount of money, they will participate in a 90-minute roundtable with Trump and Giuliani, and then it's followed up with dinner with Giuliani. So I find it absolutely abhorrent that anyone would spend that kind of money on something so frivolous. Humans and animals are suffering, but yeah, let's just go throw $100,000 at this vile man. But I'm sure they're going to find some shallow, wealthy, craven fools who just want to cozy up to these 2 accused criminals. So I'm sure they'll be able to fill their dance ticket. Meanwhile, Giuliani's former sidekick, Jenna Ellis, she has been left to twist in the wind because she no longer supports Trump. Ellis was also booked into the Fulton County Jail yesterday, and she is all in for DeSantis, so MAGA world has turned on her. And she's been on social media, she's been whining about how Trump's PAC isn't paying for her legal fees. So now she's resorted to crowdfunding on Give, Send, Go. As of today, I checked it, she's raised over $134,000, but she's receiving a lot of big dollar donations, so it's not like she's got a ton of people helping her out. $10,000 alone came from one source. It came from Dinesh D'Souza. You guys know he's the convicted felon who was pardoned by Trump. He was the producer of that brilliant comedy called 2,000 Mules. Ellis also received a bunch of large dollar donations from other right-wing media figures, a fellow election denier. So I'm sure she'll be fine, unless until she goes to prison, of course. Next up is Sidney Powell. Powell also surrendered yesterday. Like Giuliani, she is still named as a defendant in the $1.3 billion Dominion voting systems defamation case. So she has that to contend with. She is also about to get very busy, and not in a good way, if you know what I mean. The court docket shows on October 26th of this year, so not too long from now, 2 months away, that is the first deadline for the submission of discovery documents in that defamation case. And Powell is also, as you guys all know, included as an unindicted co-conspirator in Trump's federal coup indictment. So she, like Giuliani, she could still face federal charges there. And at the beginning of August, Powell lost an appeal regarding sanctions that she was ordered to pay in Michigan for one of her baseless election fraud lawsuits. Next up is former Georgia official Kathy Latham. Latham also turned herself in yesterday, and as with Jenna Ellis, she's fundraising on Give, Send, Go. On her fundraising page, Latham wrote, quote, "While you may know me as an alternate elector and former county Georgia GOP chair, I am also a retired public school teacher living on a teacher's pension. I am asking for your help today to help cover my legal fees during this time." Well, out of her $100,000 goal, which she reduced, by the way, Latham has only managed to raise $6,700 as of this afternoon. Womp womp and thoughts and prayers. And before you start to feel sorry for her with the whole former school teacher thing, I have a big heart for teachers. I think their job is incredibly difficult. I think that they're way underpaid. Do not feel sorry for this woman. This is a woman who once laughed at and mocked a reporter for saying she didn't know Georgia laws. So you just don't understand how Georgia laws work, because the reporter asked her about her alleged part in the breach of the Georgia voting machines. Also, the Georgia Republican Party has agreed to cover the legal costs of the fake electors. And according to campaign finance filings, they've already paid over $552,000 this year for four different law firms. One Georgia official who's receiving that assistance is Georgia State Senator Sean Still. Still apparently has reached a bond agreement with the Fulton County DA, but I haven't been able to track down any details about his arrest and his booking. Again, though, he's got, today and tomorrow. So, but voting rights groups are now pressuring the Georgia governor and the attorney general to remove Still from office now that he's been indicted. So I will be keeping an eye on all of these people and all of these situations. As the Proud Boys always said, fuck around and find out. I mean, guess they did, and now they are. All right, guys, I'll let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please donate if possible. Links are down below in the description box on YouTube and the podcast. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.